I'll give my social cause talk of the end of May 2023. And it seems to me that people with power do care what children say about them. They're careful to teach children the difference between their children and our children. And they're very bummed out when one of our children doesn't say the things that they expect. So, um, Reagan used to say, "You tell your children," and then he mumbled jumbo something. But the idea was to get control of your children's sensibilities. And I think that there's some um, interference with development through the clear cultivation of childhood understanding and morality. I don't want to get into a big conversation about that. Other people have their opinions, and I'm not particularly experienced in that realm. But one of the things I've noticed is that when it comes to my detective investigation, I was a medical library clerk in 1984 and saw the early things about AIDS. And I know that information about what I learned has been withheld by this platoon going around from Hollywood, calling itself a union, a Green Party, the Veterans Administration. AIDS led to COVID, everybody has the right to be suspicious and concerned. I could make a case and will, I suppose, that if they listened to me about AIDS, maybe we could have stopped COVID. Biden is unconcerned. The Trumpy Tunes crowd, if they were behind it, mongered, we're all taking the same chance. Hey, man, we're all taking the same chance. So, I mean, hey, it's a lottery. Hey, we're all taking the same chance. What they did not do was try to stop it by interfering with the progression of exploitation that was leading to um, destruction and perpetuation of old bygone industries like fossil fuel. In fact, they mapped the projection so they could use the problems caused by fossil fuel to make it look like a ghastly ultimatum had come down upon us. Now, in this platoon are people like George Monbiot, Oliver Stone, Vladimir Putin, um, Donald Trump, the Green Party, most of the major league sports industries. And they rally behind falsification that somebody used their name to do this. The time to say that was in the 80s. They thought, well, what a jolly good idea. Let's do it too. So they said, somebody used our name to do this, but it's a jolly good idea. So we'll do it too. And then justified it by crowing abnormal refrains like people are weird. So we all have to live with that now. It's a way of saying the silent majority agreed to it. And then they want to put up a defense that they didn't agree to it. My research has shown that the people in Pittsburgh who were involved in making of Hair on Godspell earmarked me as retarded concept of producing a lampoon of the second coming called Two Virgins. Nobody should mistake this. And the evidence shows that the people from Star Trek literally beamed up Houdini, John Lennon for the Snowden showdown. And they've been playing sex pot, despot in Seattle. As though women didn't campaign burn their bras. So it's a nut house situation. Now, let's look at Kamala Harris's bar code for trying to intercept my right to inform by making it look like I was some sort of advocate for a pretzel involving information of the Confederates, when in reality, they're the ones who defended this Confederacy. It was in St. Louis Current Affairs. Somebody from a Confederate sensibility asked what good things to do for the internet, and I just put up the Scholar Google search engine because people are entitled to reform their minds, and they have to do it through knowledge and understanding. And I appreciate the way that some of the Black Panthers have tried to reform the minds of the Confederacy, but they did it at my expense. That's what I don't like. Now, I was a library clerk. Understand, a Pittsburgh public school student. Understand. My obligation as a library clerk was to refer people to the librarians where they could get information. Understand. The union purposely kept me in the dark about education. Understand. They even punished the girl who taught me sign language. Understand. Now I have some ideas. I've always read Buckminster Fuller. I've thought about what you can do with ramps to high ground, circles, pavilions, with benches on all sides, like public forums, with climate resistant shade structures and rain protectors. That doesn't make me a capable functionary of the Sustainable Development team at the United Nations. It makes me a poet who's thinking about these things. Understand? Now, what these people did was they looked, for example, at the way the Federal Reserve looked at the insurance that underwrote banks. And they started just signing away bad loans. And it was probably racist that. And then they looted, because they saw it as sort of an oil field that wasn't developed. They looted the insurance. And Obama came in and bailed them out. He could have said, now is the time to force you to behave and get into sustainable development, and used it as an argument for sustainable development. He did not. His first act of office was to bail them out. Now he's put up this Greta Thunberg "woe is me" person as an outfit from his platoon, and I love her. She's a marvelous person sometimes, but I don't know where she stands on these issues, so I can't commit to anything. Understand? Now, what they did with me was they saw this, attorney general has a stash. He has a kitty for to bail him out of trouble. If you get a tort and win, you get the lottery. And they trained me to give my lunch money to them from the time they were torturing me, brutally torturing me, kidnapping me, and brutally torturing and gassing me as a child. This is the real alliance between the Green Party system. Was this Occupy attorney general said, we'll go out and tort him, and we'll compare it with the AIDS imbroglio. And don't tell anybody about the AIDS imbroglio. And get them for it. So they get their cake and eat it too. They get to get me for trying to warn people. And they get to say that it didn't happen when they know it did, so that they can, and then they say it wasn't them, but it was a really good idea. So that what they want to do is see if I can squeeze the state of Washington for this, because I have been tortuously uh, brutalized in a series of actions of horrible mutilation. I've been tortured. And they say, oh, and he's going to say he wants some. It's a food fight for that oil field. And this is what they pull. And they want me to promise to give it to them. I'm going to give it to them, or they're going to pull out their gun. They're going to dart gun me with an injection. And this comes from the mind of the extreme cinema and pornography extermination that you get from Japan and the Axis. No, I've said to the Attorney General and the people in human rights is hold it, stop this business. And they're saying, oh, special pleading, we can give him cancer like we did his daddy. I was like, this is not a legitimate alliance. There's too many people in America who live by the idea of their hard work leading to their economic sovereignty over how their money is spent. I don't want to fund the people who murdered my father. I have nothing against study and sharing of information. Understand? That's what I am as a library clerk. If I get a tort response, which is highly unlikely because they have Clint Eastwood, I'm going to use it privately. And my decisions of how I use it are going to be private decisions. There's too many people in America who believe in privacy. To sponsor a renegade outfit this contemptible. Now, I don't think the goals of the Sustainable Development Movement are contemptible. I don't think Greta is contemptible. I don't think she should be put up a front for Schwarzenegger and Attenborough. But they were calling this little girl a long time ago. And Schwarzenegger and Attenborough are functions of the Wattenmaker crowd. Wattenmaker, Schwarzenegger have iambic pentameters that identify them. So we have to be very careful. Biden doesn't seem the least bit interested. The Sunrise Kill movement was implicated in the death of Cersei Kennedy at Sunrise. Not the least bit interested. In the way that the balance of power has been sort of hustled over to the royal family in London from America by Pink Floyd, the Walrus crowd. This platoon has its roots in a revenge system to vindicate Nazi Germany and say we can do the same thing, only we can do it better. We can build an ark. And this is the no man's land of forever develop that you get with the Biden circus, which is just sort of the Christian forgiveness package of Donald Trump's before and after COVID impeachment poetry. And I don't see the poetry in their movement as legitimate. Understand?